எடுப்போம் என்று நினைக்கின்றேன். இதோ உங்கள் முன் ஒரு டிபேட்.
தேவையா என்பதே இன்றைய விவாதத்துக்குரிய தலைப்பாகும். வெளிநாடுகளில் தமிழ் மொழி தேவை என 5 பேச்சாளர்களும், வெளிநாடுகளில் தமிழ் மொழி தேவை இல்லை என 5 பேச்சாளர்களும் தமது கருத்துக்களை இங்கு முன்வைத்தனர். டலஸ் போர்ட்வொர்த் இலங்கை தமிழ் சங்கமானது வருடந்தோறும் நடத்தி வரும் கலைகளால் முதன்முறையாக விவாத அரங்கு இன்று மேடையேற்றப்படுவது இங்கு குறிப்பிடத்தக்கது. தனது 30வது ஆண்டில் காலடி எடுத்து வைத்திருக்கும் டலஸ் போர்ட்வொர்த் இலங்கை தமிழ் சங்கத்தின் வரலாற்றில் இது முக்கியமான ஒரு மைல்கல்லாகும். A warm welcome to everybody. Today's topic for the debate is, do we need Tamil language in foreign countries? There will be 5 speakers speaking for, and then there will be another 5 speakers speaking against. As the Dallas Fort Worth Tamil Sangam is celebrating its 30th anniversary, it's a very important milestone for its history. There is a panel of judges, and I would like to introduce the panel of judges to you. They are Mr. Tony Sivasodi, Mrs. Kalaicheli Devarajan, and Mr. Sayandakumar Patmanathan. இன்றைய விவாத அரங்கிற்கு நடுவர்களாக திரு டோனி சிவசோதி, திருமதி கலைச்செல்வி தேவராஜன், திரு சாயந்தகுமார் பத்மநாதன் ஆகியோர் பணியாற்றுகின்றனர். Without further ado, let me introduce the first speaker of the debate who is going to speak against Naveen Vimal. வெளிநாடுகளில் தமிழ் மொழி தேவை இல்லை என விவாதிப்பதற்காக நவீன் விமல்.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's debate. My team and I negate today's resolution. Resolve, do we need the Tamil language in foreign countries? Before we begin to address our key issues, I would like to make an observation. The resolution states if we need the Tamil language. So although we are all willing to embrace our culture, the content of today's debate should only explain why learning the Tamil language is not a necessity. From the year of 1970 to 2013, the size of the immigrant population in America has risen from 9.3 million to 41.3 million, and that number continues to grow. And while everyone has their own language, such as French, German, Chinese, or Tamil, they all have to learn English, which is a primary language that is spoken in America in order to either gain their qualifications or to climb up their career ladders. And because we already have a form of communication that everyone knows to speak with, not only themselves, but with people in other foreign countries, we must ask the question, why do we need a language when not even a quarter of the population in most foreign countries can even speak Tamil? As a student myself, I know that it is crucial for me to learn to speak the primary and official language of a foreign country, because that is a language that everyone knows and learns in the schools that are built in that country. And as a student, I know that I will have to give my presentations in English, type up most of my papers in English, and will have to speak in English while I'm participating in job interviews. Because we already have a language that is needed to be known in a foreign country, we do not need another language like Tamil to be a necessity for kids to learn, because we will not need it in order to promote our career growth or to help quicken our goals in our academic careers. And although we are also eligible to learn our mother tongue, it is still not a necessity for our growth and well-being in foreign countries. My team will now further elaborate on our side of this debate. Thank you.
நன்றி. நவீன் சொன்னதின் சுருக்கம் என்னவென்றால், அமெரிக்காவில் வந்து வசித்தவர்களின் எண்ணிக்கை 9.2 மில்லியனில் இருந்து 41 மில்லியனாக உயர்ந்துள்ளதாகவும், ஆங்கிலத்தை தவிர வேறொரு மொழி தேவையில்லை எனவும் தனது கருத்தை முன்வைத்தார். அடுத்ததாக தமிழ் மொழி தேவை என தனது கருத்தை முன்வைப்பதற்காக கிருஷ்ணா சிவராஜாவை அழைக்கின்றேன்.
எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். தமிழுக்கு அமுது என்று பெயர். இந்த அமுதான தமிழ் மொழியை இங்கே இருக்க எத்தனை பேருக்கு தெரியும்? தமிழ் முக்கியம் என்பதற்கு 1000 காரணங்கள் சொல்லலாம். இங்கே பிறந்த நானும் என் நண்பர்களும் நமக்கு தந்த குறுகிய நேரத்தில் சில காரணங்கள் சொல்ல போகிறோம். முதலாகவே தமிழ் மிகவும் சிறந்த மொழி. அதனால் நாம் பாரம்பரியாக மிகவும் முக்கியமாக இருந்தது. அத்துடன் தமிழ் தெரிந்தால் அவங்களுக்கு பெருமையாக இருக்கும். பரம்பரையாக கலைத்து கொண்டு வந்த மொழியை நாங்கள் இப்போ விட்டால் உங்களுக்கு அவ்வளோ அசிங்கமாக இருக்குன்னு நினைச்சு பாருங்க. இன்னொரு காரணம் வந்து தமிழ் வந்து அவங்களுக்கு கிளை கலாச்சாரத்துக்கு மிகவும் முக்கியம். ஏனென்றால் சாமர்த்தியம் விழுந்தாலோ கல்யாணம் விழுந்தாலோ எல்லாம் வந்து ஐயன் வந்து தமிழில் தான் சொல்லுவேன். உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ தாரேன். கல்யாண வீடுல சொல்லுவீங்க, அக்கனி சாட்சியாக நாம் இருவர்களும் ஒற்றுமையாகவும் சந்தோஷமாகவும் வாழுவோம். தமிழ் தெரியாட்டி என்ன பிரியோசம் இந்த அக்கனி சாட்சியாக வச்சிருக்கிறதுக்கு? இன்னும் கொஞ்ச நாளா வந்து ஒரு படம் பார்த்துட்டேன், லைன் கிங். கொஞ்சம் பேருக்கு மேபி தெரியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஆனா லைன் கிங்ல சொல்லினா remember who you are. நீங்கள் யாருந்து ஞாபகம் வச்சிருக்கோ. நாங்கள் தமிழன், அதை நாங்கள் ஞாபகம் வச்சிருக்கோம். இனி என் நண்பர்கள் வந்து ஏன் தமிழ் முக்கியம் என்று கதைக்கு போகிறோம். அதுக்கு வந்து இந்த டிபேட் முடியவே எனக்கு தெரியும் நீங்களும் அப்படி நினைப்பீங்க. தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you, Krishna. Krishna Sivaraja presented his point of view, saying that Tamil is important, and then we feel proud when we talk Tamil. And then when we attend ceremonies like puberty ceremony and then ceremonies attached to our culture and tradition, when we call upon our Hindu priest, he always uses Tamil. So therefore his point of view was that we need Tamil. The next speaker for against is Tarani Balsekar. Please present your points.
Okay, parents, I know you all are experts in Tamil, but how many of you got jobs because you know the Tamil language very well? I asked my dad, well, since you all like Tamil so much, I'll use Appa. So I asked Appa if he knows anyone in his 30 years in America who got a job because he or she knows Tamil. He couldn't name a single person. I challenge any parent in this audience to name a person that got a paid job in America because they know Tamil. No argument there. Now, to be prosperous in life, you need a good career. To have a successful career, it starts with a good college and meaningful major area of a study such as engineering, medicine, law, etc. If you did write Tamil as another language you know on your college application, how would that help with entering college for an engineering major or any major for that matter? Now, parents tell me by raising your hands, how many of you are advising your child to major in Tamil? No. I know how all Sri Lankan parents are. They push their kids to become a high-class profession or major in a high-class profession, and trust me, I have first-hand experiences at home. I mean, my parents already bought me a 101 how to become an engineer book. But don't get me wrong, I love the Tamil language. Speaking of Tamil can be fun and cute, but my point is we do not need Tamil for college entrance or to pursue a good career. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarangani Balsekar. Tarangani முன்வைத்த கருத்துக்கள் வந்து அமெரிக்காவில் வேலை தேடுவதற்கு தமிழ் மொழியை வைத்துக்கொண்டு வேலை எடுக்கலாமா என்று கேட்டார். அதே நேரம் பல்கலைக்கழகம் அல்லது கல்லூரியில் அனுமதி பெறுவதற்கு தமிழ் மொழி கற்றதை வைத்துக்கொண்டு அனுமதியை பெறலாமா என்று ஒரு கேள்வியை எழுப்பினார். அதை தவிர ஏதாவது ஒரு பெற்றோர் தனது மகளையோ அல்லது மகனையோ தமிழ் மொழியில் சிறப்பு பட்டம் பெறுவதற்கு ஊக்குவிக்கின்றார்களா என்ற ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு கேள்வியை எழுப்பி தனது கருத்துக்களை முன்வைத்தார். அடுத்ததாக தமிழ் மொழி தேவை என்ற கருத்தை முன்வைப்பதற்கு பிரசாந்த் குமார் will be present.
Well, before Prashant can speak, I have a question for Dwayne. Why and how can you live successfully when you're forgetting the start of it all? Before your parents got a job, your grandparents had a job, and they needed to speak in Tamil to get that job.
Were our grandparents in a foreign country or were they in Sri Lanka?
Tamil is one of the world's oldest languages. Even the Times of India recently published an article about this. எல்லா மொழிகளும் இன்னொரு மொழியை பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் பிறந்தது. For example, the English language derived from Latin. ஆனால் தமிழ் மட்டுமே எல்லா மொழிகளுக்கும் முன் தானாகவே தோன்றிய மொழி. இந்த அருமையான மொழியை தெரியாமல் இருப்பது அவ்வளவு ஒரு வெட்கமான விஷயம். வேறு வேறு ரிலிஜனாக இருந்தாலும் தமிழ் மொழியாக நாங்கள் ஒன்றுபட்டு இருக்கிறோம். அந்த தமிழ் மொழி தெரியாட்டில் நீங்கள் தனிமையாகி விடுவீர்கள். உலகின் அதிகமான மொழிகளில் டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணப்பட்ட பைபிள் இந்தியாவில் முதலில் தமிழில் தான் டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணப்பட்டது. So, in conclusion, Tamil is our past, our present, and our future. Tamil நமது தாய்மொழி, our mother tongue. Not knowing our mother tongue is like not knowing our identity. Tamil has been around for so many ages. இந்த அழகான மற்றும் புனிதமான தமிழ் மொழியை பாதுகாப்பது எங்களுக்கு ஒரு முக்கியமான கடமை. It is our duty as the next generation to preserve this beautiful and sacred language we call our தாய்மொழி Tamil.
Thank you, Prashant. Prashant's points were that if you don't know Tamil, you should be ashamed of. And then Bible was first translated into Tamil, and then he concluded by saying that Tamil is a beautiful and sacred language. The next speaker would be Arun Sitsabesan.
So when you say that we need to learn Tamil, are you saying that everyone, whether it be a child or an adult, needs to be fluent in the Tamil language?
I'm not saying that everyone needs to be fluent, but whenever you should have some pride in saying that you're able to speak your own mother tongue.
So if you don't need to be fluent, then what's the need of learning the Tamil language?
Learning Tamil, you should be able to say that you know Tamil. If you say that you know any other language and you learned any other language, what's the point of that without even knowing your own mother tongue?
How would you know your mother tongue if you weren't fluent in it?
When you learn a language, you may learn it, so if you're fluent in it, then you can go to that country, you can speak it. And right now I'm speaking in English, because they may not understand what I'm saying. But, ஆதிசூடி கொன்றைவேந்தன் அதனாடி சாமான்களில் உங்களுக்கு தமிழ் கொஞ்சம் வேர்ட்ஸ் தெரிஞ்சால் கூட அது உங்களுக்கு கருத்து தருது. So those values we retain, we carry on to our next generation. கொஞ்சம் வேர்ட்ஸ் தெரிஞ்சால் கூட அந்த தமிழில் இருக்கிற மொழியில் இருக்கிற வேல்யூஸ் கருத்துக்கள் எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு வருது. ஃப்ளூவெண்டாக இருக்க தேவையில்லை. கொஞ்சம் தெரிஞ்சால் கூட உங்களுக்கு நன்மை, அது தமிழில் இருக்கிறது.
We went to Sri Lanka for a vacation, and we found that we didn't need to know Tamil. We could get by just by speaking English. And also, you guys said that who you are is described by Tamil, and if you don't know who you are, you can't. But isn't who you are described by your clothing, religion, and religious activities?
All of our clothing, religion, and activities that we do are from our parents. Our parents are from Sri Lanka. What language do they speak? The Tamil language. The Tamil language is our culture, our religion, and the clothing that we wear.
But language doesn't define culture. There's many things that there is to culture, not just language. You're saying that it's the main thing to culture, which it is not.
Well, language is really important to culture because without language, we wouldn't understand half the stuff in our religion or in our culture. So, if we were to take up a Tamil Puttaham for Tamil Puttaham, we wouldn't be able to read it, even though it has all the holy texts that we need to know to gain moral values that can help define who we are.
You do realize that they could be translated into English. Like right now, we if we don't understand anything, our parents could translate Tamil into English for us. Correct?
Very good. Yeah, very much.
Do you want to say something?
Well, what are you going to use? Google Translate?
I just said we have a variety of resources to translate Tamil into English. One of them, yes, being Google Translate.
அடுத்ததாக தமிழ் மொழி தேவையில்லை என்று தனது கருத்தை என்பதற்காக அருண் சித்சபேசன் is going to present his points saying that Tamil language is not needed in foreign countries.
Okay, so let me start out by saying Aneharukkum Vanakkam. So that's going to be my main point. So what we've all been saying today is that it's not that Tamil is a necessity, it's that we don't need Tamil. We still all want to speak Tamil. We like learning about Tamil and our culture. But knowing Tamil is not necessarily knowing our culture, who we are, our identity as Christian, Prashant was saying. So one of the main things about Tamil culture is that Tamil is there's a great history of poets and authors in India who speak Tamil. Such poems like Tirukkural, one quote is Karka Kasadara Kapavu Kattapin Nidka Aditya. So it says, learn whatever you learn thoroughly, without doubts or defects, and then apply the learning and act in consonance with it. So basically, I just found an English translation for what was originally a Tamil quote, and it says the exact same thing. So I'm not saying that Tamil is bad in any way, I'm just saying it's not needed.
நன்றி அருண் சித்சபேசனின் கருத்து வந்து தமிழ் மொழி கூடாது என்று அவர் சொல்லவில்லை, தமிழ் மொழி அவசியம் இல்லை என்றதுதான் அவரது கருத்தாக இருந்தது. அதே நேரம் அவர் சொன்னார், எமது கலாச்சாரத்தை அறிந்து கொள்வதற்கு தமிழ் மொழி அவசியம் இல்லை. எல்லாருக்கும் தமிழ் மொழியை பேசுவதற்கும் கதைப்பதற்கும் விருப்பம், ஆனால் தமிழ் மொழியை வைத்துத்தான் நமது கலாச்சாரத்தை அறிய வேண்டும் என்ற அவசியம் இல்லை என்ற கருத்தை முன்வைத்தார். அடுத்ததாக
So, Aaron, you said that this does, knowing Tamil, and I quote, is not necessity and it's not exactly part of our identity, end quote. But that's exactly what it is. Knowing Tamil is exactly part of our identity. So when they say, well, when you go to your classroom, they say, well, all the Hispanics stand up. Are you going to stand up? No. But when they say all the Tamil people stand up, or when they say Tamilian, if you're a Tamilian, stand up, that's when you stand up, because that's your identity. So you can't say Tamil.
Let me ask you one thing. Has anybody ever asked you, are you a Tamil?
Actually, I think it happened about a few months ago. We went to get our passports, and they announce your nationality, right? So they say Mexican people stand up, half the room stands up. They say Indian people stand up, almost the other half of the room stands up. And then they finally said, we have 5 Sri Lankans in the room as well. Will the Tamilians please stand up? And we stood up. So yes, we did that.
So is there a need to be known as Tamilians, or can they just call you Keith in Krishna Yashi?
We are Keith, we are Krishna, we're Prashant, we're Aishwarya, right? But together we have learned Tamil from the day we were born.
I don't think you're understanding my point. Yeah, it's good to be known as Tamilans, but we don't need to be known as Tamilans.
But our name is Tamil.
How?
Naveen is not what we're saying, man.
How many people in school have the name Naveen?
One of the person, he's Mexican.
How many people that are not in Tamil have my name, Gosha? I don't think anyone does.
And also your Mexican friend, that just shows that in Mexico has a name that's called Naveen, that Tamil originated, that was the original language, and Spanish originated from that.
It's not the name, it's the meaning. The meaning behind the name. That's why our parents named us that, not just because it's normal name, because there's a meaning behind the name.
Has anybody else got any points to make? This is your time. Alright, so the next speaker would be Kaushia Sivaraja, who will be speaking that we need Tamil in a foreign country. Kaushia Sivaraja, Tamil Moli, வெளிநாடுகளில் தேவை என்ற கருத்தை முன்வைப்பார்.
யாம் அறிந்த மொழிகளிலே தமிழ் மொழி போல் இனிதாவது அங்கும் காணோம். This means that there is no language as sweet or as beautiful as Tamil in this world. Prashant சொன்ன போல Tamil is one of the oldest languages, and so it has one of the oldest religions as well. So it makes sense for us to preserve our mother tongue. நம்மளுடைய கல்ச்சரும் ரிலிஜனும் எப்பவுமே தமிழ் மொழியில் தான் உள்ளது. தமிழ் விளங்காமல் இருந்தால் உங்களுக்கு உங்கள் அடிப்படை தேவையான கல்ச்சரோ ரிலிஜனே விளங்கி கொள்ள முடியாது. அப்போ உங்களுக்கு நீங்கள் யார் என்று தெரியாது. உங்களுக்கு ஒரு கல்ச்சரோ ஒரு ரிலிஜனோ இருக்காது. அது மட்டுமே இல்ல, எங்கள் தாய்மொழி தான் மற்ற பாஷைகளில் அறிவு வளர்ச்சிக்கு முக்கியமானது. எங்கள் நண்பர்களே, இதை நான் எனக்காக சொல்லல, ஆனால் உங்கள் நன்மைக்காக தான். இதை ப்ளீஸ் உங்கள் மனதுக்குள் எடுத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள்.
Kaushia said that no language is sweet as Tamil. And also, if you really want to understand your culture and religion, you need Tamil. Any questions for Kaushik?
You said that Tamil is sweet and interesting. It may be sweet and interesting, but where will it get you in life?
Can you repeat that? I didn't exactly understand it.
Wait.
You said that Tamil is sweet and interesting. It may be sweet and interesting, but where will it get you in life?
Okay, so Cubby, since I know you personally, I know that you play basketball. Where's that going to get you in life, though?
Are we talking about basketball or are we talking about Tamil?
We're talking about character traits that make us who we are, and Tamil is exactly what makes us who we are.
No. We're talking about do we need the Tamil language in foreign countries?
And we're saying that we do. You know what you're saying?
Yeah.
You asked about basketball. Basketball can help me for applying to colleges. Can Tamil do that?
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
How?
It helps when you put on your college application that you're bilingual. It will help you get in college. Just like basketball, it's kind of the same concept.
So I walk into Harvard and I say, hey, I know Tamil. Will I get into Harvard? Or if I be like, Jeremy Lin with good basketball stats, I get Harvard, I don't know, how smart are you to get into Harvard? You're actually I said it.
Are you Jeremy Lin? I don't think so.
If you go to Harvard, are you just going to walk in and tell them, oh, I know Tamil and leave? Or are you actually going to go through the interview process?
What do you mean?
Okay, so whenever you go to an interview and you speak to them, are you just going to say that you know Tamil, or are you going to say anything else?
You make it sound like that's what you want to say.
Okay, wait. You can say you're bilingual. You can know any other language, English and some other language. You can be Tamil, Spanish, Chinese, or whatever.
Okay.
But wait. In your career, do you really need it? How's that going to benefit you? Just knowing that you can but do you really need it for your career
Okay, wait.
later in your life?
You said that you could speak any other language, right? To be bilingual. What's the point of speaking any other language if you don't even know your mother tongue?
If you speak any other language like Spanish, there's more Hispanics in America and in other foreign countries. Like when Tamil is like there's less people that speak Tamil, so knowing other foreign languages can help you by being able to talk to other people and being able to converse with them. Although there aren't as many Tamil.
Alright, here, let me just clarify a point. They're making it sound like we think Tamil isn't a part of our values or anything. No. We put a heavy emphasis on the word need. So there are still Americans who only learn English and they have successful careers. They're successful entrepreneurs. They're very smart and they have a very high position in their academic careers. What we're saying is we don't need the Tamil language. We can learn it and it can help us, but we don't need it in order to be successful in our lives.
Okay, Naveen. Then நீங்க சொல்றீங்க தமிழ் தேவை இல்லைன்னு.
Yeah.
In the state of Texas, 17 legal age, 18 is legal age everywhere else. Youngest student to be self-supported in the history of Texas, from what I've learned, 16. That's because he didn't have a mother, his father was a drunk. So, உங்களுக்கு கூட அம்மா தேவை இல்லை. அதை ஆன்சர் பண்றதுக்கு முதல் know that she's out there, and that if it's a necessity, then that's what comes with as well.
So you're saying I am gonna be, I'm gonna have to live off of welfare if I don't know Tamil.
Thank you for those comments and points. So we move on to the next speaker who is going to speak that we don't need Tamil in a foreign country. அடுத்த பேச்சாளர் ரம்யா பார்த்திபன் வெளிநாடுகளில் தமிழ் தேவையில்லை என்ற கருத்தை முன்வைப்பார்.
Thank you, everyone. As you may have noticed, the other side has constantly been saying that without language, we don't have culture. Now, what kind of culture is that, where language is everything? I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty lame culture, if you ask me. Now, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, the definition of culture is the way of life of a particular people, especially as shown in their ordinary behavior and habits, their attitudes towards each other, and their moral and religious beliefs. I don't know about you, but I didn't hear language anywhere in that definition. Even if we aren't speaking in Tamil, we're still demonstrating our culture through the way we dress, the music we listen to, the movies we watch, and especially through our attitudes towards each other. For the past hour, we've been wearing Tamil attire, listening to each other sing and perform Tamil songs, spending time with other Tamil people, and if that isn't considered a celebration of our culture, then I don't know what is. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I love the Tamil language. I love that it is one of the oldest languages that is still used today, and I love hearing my friends tell me how cool it sounds. However, the fact is that we don't need it to prosper in a foreign country the way we need English. And if anybody on the other side disagrees with me, then I challenge them to spend a month speaking only in Tamil. But don't worry, I'll make it fair. I'll only speak in English for a month. And while you're struggling to communicate with people at school, I will still be able to go on with my life as normal. Even better, I can still go to the temple and wear half saris and eat mutton kotarati and show others the pride that I have in my heritage, all while speaking in a language that people in any foreign country can understand. Thank you.
Hold on, wait. You said...
One second, let me translate it briefly. அதாவது ரம்யாவின் கருத்து வந்து தமிழ் மொழியை தாங்கள் கதைக்காவிட்டாலும் தமிழ் கலாச்சாரத்தை பின்பற்றுவதாக அவர் சொல்லியிருந்தார். Very quickly, if you can put your points, please.
Ramya said, கோயிலுக்கு போய் மட்டன் காசாரி போட்டு மட்டன் கொத்து ரொட்டி சாப்பிடலாம், but கோயிலில் மட்டன் தர மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க.
You also said that we come here, right, and we listen to Tamil music, and we dress in Tamil attire, and we live the Tamil culture, right? And we talk to Tamil people. In every one of those words, Tamil is in it. You said Tamil culture, Tamil attire.
But I never mentioned the word language, I just mentioned Tamil. That's just how we identify ourselves. but that doesn't mean the language is crucial to who we are. There's so much more to us than just our language.
And also, it's Sri Lankan attire, and we're doing Indian Sri Lankan food. We're eating.
So the next speaker would be Aishwari Sri Prabhakar, who will be presenting her points that we need Tamil language in a foreign country.
தமிழுக்கு அமுதென்ற பெயர். அந்த தமிழ் என்ப தமிழ் எங்கள் உயிருக்கு நேர். தமிழுக்கு நிலவென்ற பெயர் என்ப தமிழ் எங்கள் சமூகத்தின் விளைவுக்கு நேர். In this world, we are identified by where we live, where we came from, and language and culture. For an example, even in America, we say, he's Texan, she's Indian, so on and so forth. So, who are we? Are we Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi? No, we are none of those because we are Tamilian. We are the language we speak, or should speak. Although most of us were born and raised in North America, that doesn't mean our title as Tamilian should be deprived of us. We are Tamil and we should be proud to call ourselves that. But how do we show our pride? The first words we heard were spoken in Tamil. Our first words we said were spoken in Tamil. By speaking and understanding Tamil, we are reflecting our true identity. When we don't speak and understand our mother tongue, we lose a crucial aspect that makes us who we are. As I said before, we are the language we speak. If we don't take pride in speaking the sweet nectar of our Tamil language, who will?
ஐஸ்வரி ஸ்ரீ பிரபாகரின் கருத்து வந்து எமது அடையாளத்தை சரியாக அறிந்து கொள்வதற்கும் உறுதிப்படுத்திக் கொள்வதற்கும் தமிழ் மொழி தேவை என்பது. அடுத்ததாக தமிழ்
You say that we are Tamilians, but I know Indians who speak Tamil as well. Are we in the same category as them?
We're talking about the Tamil language, so if they speak Tamil, then they're praising the Tamil language just because. And that just shows that we have more than the Tamil language. So thank you for that one too.
தமிழ் மொழி அவசியமில்லை வெளிநாடுகளில் என்ற கருத்தை முன்வைப்பதற்கு கவின் சித்சபேசன்.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். I know not all of you speak Tamil out there, so to explain that, I would say that means hello everyone. And as I just translated that, it proves that Tamil is not needed to talk to even people who do not understand English. I first like to say that Tamil language is a want and not a need. The dictionary definition of a want is a desire to possess or do, where a need is a necessity, something essential or important for your living. Learning Tamil is definitely a want, but it's not a necessity. To communicate with other people, Tamil is neither a global nor popular language like English that is used all across the globe. Next, I like to say that language does not define our identity or culture. As my teammate Marmia said, that language wasn't used in the dictionary definition of culture. And today, most of us are dressed in our cultural clothing, celebrating concert or performances, the Kalibala marriage ceremonies, etc. You may say that if we don't speak Tamil, we're not celebrating culture, but that's not true. We are celebrating our culture right now by wearing our religious clothing and dancing our cultural dances and listening to our cultural music. I'd also like to say when we learn new things or study for our future, Tamil is not needed. Schools in foreign language don't teach subjects in Tamil. Tamil is not used in math, reading, and science in foreign countries. And even in literature, like my teammate said, the meaning is the most important part, not necessarily the language you're speaking. When people make up quotes, they don't make it for the language, they make up for the meaning, so that we can all understand what they believe. And my last point is, they say that to communicate with elders who don't speak anything other than Tamil, like you have to learn Tamil, but that's not true. We can translate it, and there's technology and internet to translate to Tamil so that we can talk to them through the translators. Thank you.
கவின் சித்சபேசனின் சுருக்கமான கருத்து என்னவென்றால் அகராதியில் மொழி கலாச்சாரத்தை அறிவதற்கு தேவை என குறிப்பிடப்படவில்லை என்று சொன்னார். அடுத்ததாக தனது குழுவின் சார்பாக கருத்துக்களை முன்வைப்பதற்கு தமிழ் மொழி தேவை இல்லை என்ற கருத்துக்களை முன்வைப்பதற்கு தேவை என்பது. The Keith Sivaraja will be presenting his point of views as we need Tamil in a foreign country.
உலகறிந்த மொழிகளிலே தமிழ் மொழி போல் இனிதாவது எங்கும் காணோம். நமது உலகில் இருக்கும் மொழிகளிலே பழமை வாய்ந்த மொழிகளில் சிறந்த மொழி தமிழ் மொழி. எமது குழுவினர் கூறினார், பரம்பரையாக கதைத்து வந்த இந்த தமிழ் மொழியை நாம் கடைபிடிக்க வேண்டும் என்று. நாம் திருப்பி சிலோனுக்கு போகும்போது நமது முதியோரோட தமிழின் கதை கேட்கல, we have an attachment to them. அத்துடன் நமது ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் ஒரு ஃபேமிலியோடு மட்டுமல்ல, நமது கம்யூனிட்டியில் யாரும் கேட்டால் நமக்கு நமது தாய்மொழி தெரியும் என்று சொல்வது நமக்கு ஒரு பெருமை இருக்கிறது. இப்ப நமது எதிர்குழுவினர் கூறலாம், தமிழ் தேவையில்லை என்ற இந்த நாட்டில் அது உபயோகிக்கிறேன் என்று. ஆனால் நாம் ஏன் சொக்கர், பாஸ்கெட்பால் காலம், ஏன் பியானோ, வயலின் லேர்ன் பண்றோம்? நம்ம ப்ரொஃபஷனல் அத்லீட்டா வரையில் இருந்தாலோ இல்லாட்டி பியானிஸ்டா வரையில் இருந்தாலோ இதெல்லாம் தேவையில்லை. ஆனா இவற்றையெல்லாம் கேட்கும் நாம் நமது தாய்மொழியை கற்க வேண்டும், நமது கலாச்சாரத்தை கொண்டாட வேண்டும் என்று உறுதியாக கூறிக்கொள்கிறேன். சமன் செய்த போல் அமர்ந்திருக்கும் நீதிபதி அவர்களே, நமது குழுவினரும் நானும் நமது தாய்மொழி, தமிழாகிய தாய்மொழி என்னத்திற்கு முக்கியமானது என்பதையும் அது எங்கள் அடையாள சின்னம் என்பதையும் வலியுறுத்தி கூறினோம். நமது மொழியின் முக்கியத்துவத்தையும் பெருமையையும் நன்கு அறிந்து நமது மதிப்பிற்குரிய நீதிபதி அவர்களே, உங்கள் தீர்ப்பை தமிழ் வாழ வழங்குமாறு தாழ்மையாக கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். தமிழ் வாழ.
Keith Sivaraja said that we feel proud when we speak in Tamil, especially with our grandparents. So, any more questions to anybody? Final chance for 2 minutes. But please restrict it.
Earlier on, you guys said that you guys can get Tamil translation to English from your parents. What happens when you guys actually become your parents and your kid asks you, Amma, Appa, what is this in English? How are you going to translate that for them?
Google Translate. But another point is, you said into our grandparents is Tamil. It's love, not Tamil. Our grandparents love us, so that's why they want to speak to us. It's not the Tamil that's bringing us closer, it's the love.
Let us all give a round of applause for all the participants who have participated in this session. Okay, go ahead. அதாவது இந்த விவாதத்தில் பங்கேற்றிய அனைத்து பேச்சாளர்களுக்கும் எமது மனமார்ந்த பாராட்டுகள். The results will be announced later. இந்த விவாத அரங்கில் காண முடிவுகள் சிறிது நேரத்தில் அறிவிக்கப்படும். நன்றி. Thank you.
Now we're going to have Sivisoli Uncle come up and announce the debate results, and then we're going to move on to the award ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to be here on the 30th anniversary of Tamil Sangam. Before I announce the results, there are a couple of points that have been missed out in the debate. I would like to mention for both sides, whether we need Tamil or we don't need Tamil. All of you are aware that this week, the Harvard University announced that they are going to give a chair and a faculty for the Tamil language at the university. And the Tamil Nadu government is coming out to give $100 million towards the fund. And if most of you have listened to the interview given by, I forgot his name, Ayadure, who found the email. He was a Tamil from South India. And in his interview he mentioned that it is because of the values that he imbibed when he was a child living in a village that helped him to come up with this idea. He was 14 years when he came up with the idea, and he found the internet when he was 18 years. So remember, this is a very rich language, and the latest research has shown that Tamil precedes Sanskrit, and in fact the origins have been traced to Mesopotamia. So we are lucky that we are the inheritors of this language. Okay, those are the technical facts. Both sides did very well. It has been very difficult to make a judgment as to who really won this. We went on certain criteria as to whether the participants expressed themselves very well, whether they were organized, their presentation was good or not, and whether they came up with a sound arguments. I would say both sides came up with good arguments. So both sides can be winners. But of the both sides, the side who was for Tamil is required, is necessary when we are living. They did very well. Why they did very well means the arguments were very good. And remember, when you are having a debate, it is important that you must face the audience. And of all the 10 participants, 2 participants from the side which said we need the Tamil language in a foreign country did very well. Right? So based on those facts, it is the decision of the judges that the participants who took part as to we need Tamil in a foreign language really won this debate. Thank you.
Now I call upon Mrs. Southernayo and Mrs. Watabe to give away awards